This episode is brought to you by our Digital Marketing 101 class. This class will equip you with everything you need to know to get started on your very own advertising campaign from Facebook to Google.
Welcome to the Wander Creative Podcast, your guide to digital marketing.
We'll be talking about everything from organic social media to paid advertising, as well as many other topics.
So join us as we journey through the ever-changing world of digital marketing. Hey everyone. This is Dan Russo with the Wander Creative Podcast. I am here with a good friend and marketer, Kiera Miller. Give it up. Give it up for her.
Hello, Dan.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. What about you?
Super excited. Doing really well. So Kiera and I go pretty far back. You know, we worked together on a few campaigns, became buddies through it, and she's a wizard at all things marketing, advertising, good friend, remarkable person. All around.
Well, thank you.
All around good hang.
Yeah, I would say the same about you as well. I've missed hanging with you.
I know.
So, yep.
COVID.
Seriously.
We've all heard it too much. This week is the importance of marketing that converts. So we are talking about digital ads, the importance of them, maybe a little bit about the philosophy behind them as well, frustrations, which we've all had while running, and everything else surrounding the general topic. So like I said, I'm joined by Kiera Miller. So tell us a little bit about your background with ads, just as like a brief context to who you are.
So I really started doing ads when I worked with an artist directly for King and Country. Yeah. I think initially when I started working with them, I was just doing more like social strategy and stuff, but we had a big tour and they just kind of threw me into it and were like, hey, we want you to run point on all ads. And I'd never run ads before. So I was like, oh boy, here we go. But the great thing about them was they were really willing to spend money to bring someone in to help teach me. So there was a guy actually from a Christian radio station who like came in and taught me ads, surprisingly, like Christian radio station. Yeah, I was like, good job for you guys. But he was really good at ads and showed me the way. And then just throughout working with them, I met with a couple different people and they showed me all of their strategies and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's really where it started. Then I actually became a contractor and did like tour marketing for artists. And a lot of that was doing digital advertising. Then I went to work for a marketing agency and did advertising for a lot of their musicians. And then now I'm back to being a contractor and doing ads there. So, yeah.
What's it like to go from that, agency life back to contracting? Is it like...
It's great.
Scary,
honestly.
freeing, awesome, the things.
It was scary at first for sure, because I mean, with the marketing agency, you have a stable income and everything like that. But it's been really cool to like have the flexibility again and to honestly work with the types of people that I want to work with. Because that's the thing with an agency, if you don't own it, or sometimes if you're not necessarily like seen as a partner in the company, then you don't have as much of a say in who you work with. You can work with some people you want to work with because you'll bring them on as a client, but then there's other people that you don't really care to work with. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, and for those listening, Kiera is one of the most like explorative advertisers I've ever. So like you're curious and like I want to learn how to. Oh, like this new thing happened. I learned. I mean, you and I both kind of were into the thick of Google kind of at the same time. Yeah. The beast that it is.
Yes.
And there was just a lot of like I remember a lot of text conversations of like, have you like done like
have
we
you
both
tried this?
Yeah. Have you tried this thing? And like we've done a lot of audience building, strategizing together and stuff like that. So kind of starting at the basics then, what would you say is kind of like, what does it mean to have an ad that converts or have people that convert via your ad,
Yeah. Honestly, to me, the two most important things are having great creative and then also being really specific in your targeting. Obviously, it helps whoever you're working with if the product is good, because I have worked with some people where like the product just isn't amazing, or beyond that, like it doesn't fit enough into a niche because you're so limited in targeting. Like let's say if you are working with a country music artist and they I don't really have a lot of success so far in country music. Well, you're going to have to target just pop country artists, right? And so it's like you're targeting these huge people, and if the sound just isn't quite right compared to what they're used to hearing in country music or pop country, then people aren't really going to want to listen to it as much. Not like some people will, but it won't be a good return on your ads and stuff. So, but honestly, the two things to me, if the product is good, it's all about the creative, and then also the targeting. I don't think the caption is like as... I don't think it matters as much.
So you said a few interesting things there. One, you talked about when it's the struggle of a smaller, artist. And I know that you and I have had a lot of discussions about if we don't have that person's engaged audience, or at least we could interest-based target that individual artist, are people going to fork over money for an artist that they, I like other country bands. So, it's like, that's kind of a tough ask.
Right. And I think... maybe if the product is amazing, and then also if you can put something out there creative wise specifically that's just so much different than what someone else is doing. Yeah. But it doesn't always work. Sometimes I don't recommend spending ads even if you have a major budget. Like I'm just like, sometimes I don't see the value in it if you're a smaller artist, but definitely if you're a bigger artist, like I see the value in it for sure. Because you can target so many different people that way and whatnot. Right.
And especially when we're talking about tours, that's like, I feel right on the money. I mean, like if you're a smaller audience, there could be like, hey, push some awareness ads to like have people discover you.
Right. But more.
Or page following, but like.
And that's exactly what I'm learning right now with an artist is it's like, why don't you focus more of your budget? And we actually are focus more of our budget on creating awareness of the post or of, which we can get into later with like boosted posts and stuff. But in this specific situation, it kind of makes sense, like creating more engagement for a post or for their page versus, hey, let me just sell tickets to you. Because no one's going to buy if they've never heard of you before.
Right, exactly. You're like, hey, you haven't heard of me. But come though.
Yeah, come to my show. Yeah. Buy my $20 ticket.
And even like there have been moments where, if they're opening for a larger, it's like, all right, maybe just to get them discovered, you target that larger band.
Right.
And then
has that really worked for you? Because I don't know if I've mostly only done headliner stuff now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean I've done it a few times, and I've been like, I kind of had no choice because sometimes with that small of an artist, it's like. I'm not gonna in good conscience spend a lot of money on people who've never heard of someone. Right. Just hoping that they like want to go see a rando, because I've never done that. I've never bought tickets for a band that I didn't already like.
Unless my friend was like, hey,
come with me.
Come with me. Yeah, I need someone to come
ticket.
With me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a free ticket.
But then I was like, all right, so if they go to the headliner and the headliner is usually the same genre or world as the opener, then more discovery for that person would be the most benefit.
Yes.
But yeah, and I never like target the ads around the headliner. I'll still target around the opener, but
that makes sense.
Target people who are interested in the headliner. So it's like
as well. Okay. Yep. That makes sense.
But not like in the ad creative be like, it's the headliner. I'd be like, it's the opener.
Yeah.
But also touring with the headliner. People would be like, oh, okay.
Right.
If we're using like, I love the band Camino.
Yes.
But if they had a small opener and an ad said touring with the band Camino or opening with the band Camino or something, I'd be like, oh, I want to see them.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to see the band Camino.
Yeah, you have like a larger pot to pull from if you start kind of targeting all the people on the tour.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. So you talked about some beneficial things being creative and targeting.
Yeah.
Is there have you found like, if we're using a lot of our examples have been the music industry. So just kind of going along that example, have you found like an it factor when you are advertising, a tour, with creative and targeting? What has kind of been your go-to strategy?
Well, honestly, like this sounds simple, but not a lot of people do it, I've learned, because they don't want to take the time to do it, is just, and you guys do this too, is having localized assets. Like I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Because if you're so targeted in your messaging, whether it be with your creative and then also in this case with your caption, people are like, oh my God, you're speaking to me.
Yeah.
So you have to be so specific. And that's like, that is the one thing where I've really found it's so beneficial is just for your asset to be, you know, here's the show day, here's the city. And then also I think what I do all the time is my caption leads off with like Chicago, Illinois.
Hey, market kind of
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Because then it's like you're speaking to me.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's so true because, you know, there was even, we were A/B testing a lot of ads, and one of our ads that we were testing didn't lead off with the market.
Okay.
It was whatever. And I think that particular creative was a video, but it wasn't like every market had its own specific video with the market in it. So
it had all the shows on it.
So it had all the shows on it, or none of the shows, and it was just you know, we're so excited for this tour, like an announcement tour. And that one ad that didn't have the market like leading off, we had a lot of comments that were like, where are they playing? Like, I want to go to this, but like, where is it? Right. Where is the show?
Right.
And then we were like, okay, like even putting venues in there is super important. Yes, and then, you know, and so people are like,
because you don't want to cause confusion, because the minute you cause confusion, you piss people off.
Yeah.
And then they're not willing to like go and support you.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so like, if you're like, hey, Kansas City, we're playing at the Sprint Center. Yes. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I love the Sprint Center, you know, and
yes.
That's huge. Yeah. So I love that. And
just
I think
being specific is so important.
Yeah.
In advertising.
Yep. Target. Cause if you're going to be specific in the targeting, why not in the creative and the copy? And don't you love the hassle it is to chase down market specific creative? You just have to make it. I mean, it's like at that point. You know
that from me too well, because I have requested that from you.
That's right. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, I'm sure I don't create any of the assets, so lucky for me.
Yeah. Well, it's like there are often times where I don't, but then I'm just like, can I have the Photoshop document? Because I
just do it.
I need
really
them.
Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need them.
But even that, it's a process, but worth it.
But it's worth it. Yeah.
A lot of this podcast is centered on, you know, educating those who are wanting to learn more about marketing, ways they can tackle it themselves, or starting a business, you know, or like managing social media. So what would you say is the difference between, I know a lot of people come to us and are like, hey, should I just boost this?
Right.
What would your words of caution or encouragement be for like that difference between this marketing converts, or like I'm going to throw money at a post and boost it and just hope, you know.
Just hope.
Yeah, hope something happens.
And spray, I think is something I've always heard people say.
Spray and spray. That's what boosting is. Yeah. Talk a little bit about the difference between that boosting and like a strategized campaign. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when I first started out in advertising, I didn't really understand like why there was a big difference. I'm like, I don't really see it. It seems like it's going to be the same like thing, basically. You just can't get super targeted in your ads. Like I think you can really only target like
location, gender, age, and something else.
You can't create the specific ad sets. You can only create one ad set within the boosted post, which I guess you could go back into the dark ads manager and then like duplicate them and stuff, but it's just, I don't know.
I think so, but I think I've even gone in and tried to like edit it, and it's like a lot of it's restricted when you do it.
Yes, it is actually, now that you say it. So yeah, I mean, there's that. And then I don't know if this is still true because, as you know, Facebook changes all the time, but I know at one point, like if you did boost posts, then it actually impacted your organic reach as well. Yeah. So, and that was different than dark ads at the time because it was considered a post on your public page, whereas a dark ad was separate. Yeah. So.
More private.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it was like when I first started in advertising, that was when the discussion was real big of like, do not boost. Create a post from the back end and do it that way. Yep. And I was like,
okay. It's more tedious, but
it is. It's not as convenient as just like going on your page and like clicking the big blue button.
Yep.
And I know that I have friends that I won't call out by name, but they were like, oh man, I got to put $400 into this, like $400 into this post boost on my page. Right. And that's a pray and spray.
Yep.
That's expensive.
It is, yes.
And I would tell him, I was like, oh, you're like, let me help you on the back end. I'll do anything, but
don't do that.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. So we have a lot of funny frustrations, funny conversations back and forth of like, are you having to deal with this on Facebook?
Yes.
And you're like, no, because I shut my computer.
Yeah. No, because I stopped advertising.
Yeah. No, because I quit.
Yes.
So what is one of the biggest roadblocks you've faced as an advertiser, which I know is very vague, but like,
I think I can come up with a good answer for that. Honestly, it really is the changes in advertising, in all the platforms.
Yeah. Yep.
Because, for example, with Facebook, you used to be able to get so targeted. So when I first started working with For King and Country, we actually did this like really viral advertising campaign where, okay, you can still target Facebook admins on a page. Mm-hmm. So our messaging was super targeted. It was, are you a Facebook admin? If so, share this post. Well, back in the day, though, you could like pull in the post that you wanted to share, like embed it. I think that's what it was. You could embed it, so it was so easy for the people to share the post, like the public post on their page. And then they took that away. I feel like that was only around for like a year or two, like that you could do that. And obviously, you've probably had this experience too. Like now. You can still get a ton of shares on a post with doing a Facebook advertising campaign, but you can't get a lot of comments. Or you can get likes and shares, but you can't get comments. Back in the day, you could get comments. Yeah. So I don't know if that's necessarily something with like how they change the engagement or something, but I know a lot of people like to see comments, and I'm one too, because I'm like, that looks more like a real fan to me than someone who's just liking it.
Right.
So that was a big change. Obviously, they've gotten rid of a lot of targeting options. Everything is just which I appreciate as a person because I don't like people having my data. Yeah. But as a marketer, I hate.
It's the worst.
Because all I want is people's data. No offense. Yeah. Like, sorry, I want to know you and I want all your information.
Right.
Because the more targeted you can get, like, the better your ads are going to convert.
Yeah. And I think we've had interesting discussions about the new iOS updates with like, we're currently more and more restricting, we should data so that, which is great, but also like my boss and I were talking about, is that fully honest? Like, cause what we're doing is opting out of, you can opt out of Facebook tracking your data. Yep. Which that's, already throwing conversion metrics out the window in a lot of ways. Yep. So now you're like, I'm kind of blind on a lot of people. But it's like you're opting out of Facebook tracking. Right. To my knowledge, it seems like Apple is still tracking.
I would think so, yeah.
Which our guess was that Apple would then soon be releasing their own advertising platform and be like, we still have all your data.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
But it's like they're kind of playing it up like we're your friend that's like helping your privacy. And it's like, I don't know if you are. No. I'm hoping that you're collecting some stuff for me.
But I don't know. I mean, I do think though, like it seems like a lot of people have been sued and stuff. So I do feel like maybe they are actually protecting us. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they came out with something on their own at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good point. And when it first started, like when they first really started getting into tracking, I was thankful because I was like, I don't want advertisements for dresses on, like Amazon. Like, so I said, if I can have a personalized experience, I'd rather ads that relate to me than.
Right. And I'm the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're, like you said, like too much. And I don't want you to be able to use that data in other ways.
Right.
I've always made jokes, there's that like rumor of if you say something, you have devices that listen and then you'll start seeing advertisements for that thing. Yes. I'm like, as an advertiser, how do we tap into that?
I know. I know. And I actually kind of believe that there is something because that has happened to me before multiple times. And I'm like, this is just not a coincidence.
There's no way. There was one dinner with my family. We talked about Mazda cars and hot tubs. And I got advertisements for Mazda cars and hot tubs that night. And I was like, I've never gotten a hot tub advertisement in my life. Right. And we were like, there's something.
I know, there's something. And I'm also like you. I'm like, I wouldn't mind if there was.
Yeah. Well, if we can tap in, great.
Right. Yeah.
Oh You've talked about For King and Country. You'll get an ad now.
Yes, exactly. How cool would that be?
I wonder how expensive that is to convert those people.
I know.
So So over the course of your advertising expertise, marketing career, you've learned a lot. We both have, as we've had to get thrown into this, like you said, platforms change so much, which is, I always feel, and we've talked about this recently, like I always feel like we're catching up.
Yes, totally.
Like, you have to stay in the loop.
Everything's changing. Yep.
Yeah. So with that, what would you, if you could go back in time to when you first got started in advertising?
Yeah.
What would your advice be to yourself then?
Honestly, I would genuinely think it's find someone who knows how to advertise before you start doing it, because you will waste so much money otherwise. Mm-hmm. But if you find someone who knows what they're doing and they can teach you how to be really specific, how to even just like create assets and creative that actually connects with people, I just think that's so important. And so I honestly think my simple answer would just be I would go back and I guess I kind of did this in the beginning, but I would try to find as many people as possible who already know how to advertise to teach me the ways, because I did start out just doing like, the boosted posts and that kind of stuff, and it wastes money. Yeah. So
no, that's really good. And this is the most shameless plug I will give today, but really our Wander Creative digital marketing class. It's the Digital Ads 101, and it was what the intro of this podcast was. And it is helpful to be able to I will kind of walk through targeting, walk through audience building and advertising. And I'm sharing
a full tutorial.
It is. Yeah, and there are different lessons. There's a workbook that comes with it. Yeah. I share my screen the whole time, so you're watching me walk through. So that's something for those who are listening. If you guys are I would like that hands-on experience. And then beyond that, we even have one-on-one coaching, which we can set up. Great. And it's hey, we will live with you, walk through everything. So for those who are listening, because I would say the same thing. It would be I feel like whenever you get into advertising, you're kind of being thrown to the wolves a bit. Right. You know, really it's spend this money.
It's a new technology to you. Right. And so new technology for me, I'm not someone who can go into Photoshop and just figure things out. I need someone to teach me. And I think I've met a lot of people who are the same with advertising. They're I need people to actually teach me what to do.
Yep. Well, and I know that our friendship even just helps me as an advertiser, to be able to bounce off stuff. And and even your Photoshop example, then I think that's still free. So even if you were that type of person, do it. It's this one, it's you have to spend money to get better and to practice. Right. And so that can be stressful.
Yes. But I would recommend doing your coaching then, because like I said, that was the thing that helped me the most. It wasn't just someone who was showing me the platform. It was someone who was helping me to understand marketing, because that was my first real marketing job. And I didn't really understand how do you target, or why do you target this person for this product? I didn't really get that at the time. Yeah. So if you can go find a coach to literally help you understand marketing, but also show you the platform, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I think even beyond that, what you said is really true, that, it's hey, not only why are you targeting these people, but why are you targeting these people for my kind of product?
Yes.
For my genre of music or for whatever. And because everyone's, whether it's products, music, skills, they're so unique that they need a tailored, marketing approach. Yep. And so that's the Digital Ads 101 class is the best for, here's the basics of advertising online and how to do it, either Google or Facebook and Instagram. But then the one-on-one coaching is hey, we tailor it to what you do.
That's amazing.
So that's helpful. Well, Kiera, it's been real. Dan. It's too fast.
It is.
I wish this was a 3-hour-long podcast. The listeners probably don't.
Talk about our frustrations. For
exactly. We're cut, and then you and I keep this going.
Yeah.
No, our frustrations are mostly with the platforms.
Yes, absolutely.
Golly.
And they're brutal.
Keep changing them up on us. Thank you so much for coming on. For those who have listened to previous episodes, they know that we end this with a digital marketing quick tip. We have the honor and the privilege of having Kiera lead our digital marketing quick. I'm really setting it up for you.
And I'm really laughing.
Yeah,
so I'm
it's
like,
good.
oh God.
Yeah. So she will be leading our digital marketing quick tip for this week. And just we appreciate everyone who's listened, and this is the Wander
Thanks
Creative
for
Podcast.
listening and having me on, by the way.
Been real, dude.
Yeah,
Anytime
it's been
we can
real.
share some
I'm
coffee
down.
drinks and
anytime I can come to this office too,
Yeah.
I'm like, I love it here. I'll
yeah,
come.
yeah, for real. I'm the same way. I'm like, work from home or
Or
work
going to the
from
office.
this cool office. I
Yes.
think I'm torn.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Well, here's the digital marketing quick tip. What do you got for us?
It's not going to be super articulate or clean or crisp.
Go for it.
But let's go for this. So I feel like I'm just reiterating the same point, honestly, but I can't stress it enough. Really find creative that connects with your target audience. And within that, I would definitely say try to remember like the emotion of the person who's going to go to your event, like get them excited with your creative, or if it's something more emotional or inspirational, like make them feel that in your creative, and then really get targeted in your audiences when you're targeting them.
That's awesome.
I realize that's like a paragraph instead of a one
No,
sentence thing.
that was
but
good. That was
that's
really,
it.
it's practical.
Okay.
Have strong creative
Yeah.
that resonates with the people you're
Yeah.
targeting.
Yep.
Love it.
Love it.
Thanks so much, Kiera. Thanks for everyone listening. Tune back in next week for another episode of the Wander Creative Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Wander Creative Podcast. We hope that today's episode inspired and equipped you to take on the ever-changing digital marketing landscape. If you missed anything from today's episode, don't worry. We took all of the notes for you. Access this episode's show notes at wandercreative.com/podcast. And could you also do us a favor? Let us know that you loved this episode by following the Wander Creative Podcast and leaving a positive review on whatever platform you consume podcasts. We'll catch you next time on the Wander Creative Podcast, and until then, we hope that you make the most out of all that the digital world has to offer you.